All right, what's going on? Welcome to Insight with Irv. 7 rules to making your first six figures. This one is highly requested, highly recommended. Now, I want to speak to you guys and gals that maybe, look, whether your first target is 100K, 250, 300, 500, whatever that is, anything under 7 figures, this is going to work for you. See this as the foundation for what you're going to build because a lot of this stuff is transferable as you start to work your way up. So let's get right into it. The first thing that I have on here, and it probably comes to no surprise, especially if you guys been following me for some time, you guys know that my entire YouTube channel is geared around education. I have an education company. So everything around what I do, I enjoy learning. I always tell people the biggest asset that you can invest in is going to be yourself. You are your own biggest asset beyond real estate, beyond crypto, beyond the stock market. If you can grow you can most likely grow at a faster pace than any of those asset classes. So the first thing on my list is going to be, I want you to learn. That is the first thing. I'll obviously get more into what specifically you're going to be learning, but learn. There's two ways that I'm breaking this down. You are either going to pay to learn or you are going to get paid to learn. Irv, what's the difference? The first one is you're paying to learn means you see someone with the skill set. Insert, you want to learn how to run Facebook ads. Insert, you want to get better at public speaking. Insert, you want to maybe become better at selling in maybe to one-to-one, kind of like if you're selling real estate or if you're selling timeshare, whatever that is, you're selling one-to-one, you're selling gym membership, one-to-one. Maybe the skill set that you want to learn is you pay someone to show you how to sell one-to-many. That means that maybe you're running a live webinar and there's 20 people live, and of the 20, you're pitching all 20 in hopes to maybe have a 30% conversion, which means you're going to close 6 people virtually or even in person if you're selling from a stage. I'm not here to tell you more so the skills. I'll get into that a little bit later of what I believe the core skills, the base that you should have, but you are going to either pay to learn or you are going to get paid to learn. Let me transition into getting paid to learn. Irv, what does that mean? Because the first one is pretty self-explanatory. I'm finding a coach, I'm finding a mentor, I'm finding a consultant, right? Or I'm buying a course online, whatever that is. Figure it out, right? Depends what the skill is you want to learn. The other route is, depending on the skill that you want to learn, go get paid to learn. That means that you're going to go plug yourself into a company that's going to say, hey, we need XYZ type of job done for us. So if you eventually want to open up a plumbing company, and you maybe got your certification as a plumber, so maybe you learned, or maybe you first paid to learn, so you got your certification, example, to become a plumber, and then you say, you know what, before I start my business, I want to see more so their process of how they acquire a customer, how fast they respond to emails, how quickly they get back to phone calls, what type of systems they're using for follow-up, how many people do they have actually selling maybe plumbing services, am I doing it door to door, like what's the system behind it? And so one of the best ways that you can do that is by getting paid to learn, meaning you're going to plug yourself into their system. Obviously, you're going to be an employee. And this is a thing that I got to drop right here, is a lot of people are, especially in this culture, I don't know why, but they're demonizing people that are going to work. Like, just build your own business, start your LLC. Dude, I have no issues with someone coming in and saying, I'd rather sit down for a year, 2 years, learn the structure, because flat out, I don't have structure. I just have the skill set, but I don't understand the full structure just yet, before I actually go out there and obviously face reality, which is running a business is extremely hard. And so I'd rather see someone, which is usually the advice that I give, especially people that tell me, but I want to start my business. Yes, but you don't have the disciplines just yet. You just have one skill set. It's a skill stack is what you're looking for. So go get paid 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever it is, dollars an hour to learn under someone else and pick up the other skill sets that you're possibly missing. And you may even be surprised that, hey, I may not even want to go out and start my own business. You can easily make 6 figures working for the right company. So, side note on that. Number 2 is, and this is a big one, you want to study for at least 2 to 3 hours a day on the industry that you've chosen to get into. I'm gonna say that again. You want to study. If you want to get ahead beyond 99.9% of the people in your space, you want to study 2 to 3 hours a day specific to your industry. When you're first starting out and when you're inching your way into that first 6-figure mark, your unique value proposition is going to be knowledge. The knowledge that you have is what's going to edge you against the competition, especially when you don't have a brand built out just yet. That is the fastest way. Sometimes I'll be scrolling through Instagram or I'll be on TikTok and I'll just see someone minimal editing literally from their car. They'll maybe give a real estate update on what they think the market is doing right there. And the stats that they're dropping, the case that they're creating of why they think or don't think the market is going to crash, or why they think or don't think maybe a type of insurance policy a client of theirs should have, right? It's built up in such a way that I think to myself, man, that was minimal editing. This person knows what the heck they're talking about. And then I'll see someone with a ton of editing and it looks like they're building a brand, but there's really no substance behind it. I'll tell you who most people are going to pick is the person that's knowledgeable. People are seeking knowledge because that's a form of risk mitigation for their investment. And in this case, if you're selling a product, which we'll get into here in just a second, if you're selling a product, then that means you want to be as well versed than anyone else on not just your product, but on your competitor's product, especially if maybe you're just starting a business, you want to know kind of who the players are in the marketplace, and then you want to make your product better than their product, right? Obviously, we won't get into product development too much, but that is a skill set that you want to develop. And then the other side of it is if maybe you're not selling a physical product, like maybe real estate, yes, you want to be well versed in the marketplace, but guess who the product is in real estate? It's you, the real estate agent. Guess who the product is if you're selling insurance? It's you, the insurance agent. Yes, you want to learn about IULs. Yes, you want to learn about, whole life insurance and all that to see how it fits with your clients, but you're the one that's selling it, especially in a competitive space. People are going to turn to you to mitigate their investment, meaning they don't want to lose money. Number 3, for 7 rules that I want you to follow for making your first 6 figures is you want to get your money in order. This means I want you to track your spending. I want you to track how much money is coming in. And then I want you to pay attention to your credit. If you can master those 3 things at 50K, you're going to be able to master that when you are overseeing other people. It's the bare bones basic stuff. I used to be the guy that was kind of nervous about checking my account because I just knew that my account had less money in it than the area code that I lived in, which is 407. Shout out to Orlando, Florida. 407. I had less money in my account than my own area code. To take it a step further, you're probably thinking, oh, bro, this guy had at least $400 in my account. No. It was $4.07 in the account. And I just knew, why am I even checking my account? There's like nothing in there, right? No shame. We've all been broke, right? If you're listening to this podcast and you're still kind of broke, I want to help you not be broke. And so one of the best ways that you can become not broke and start making money is by watching your money. You have to confront and open it up. And if you want me to go rigid with this, I will. I want you to open up every single piece of pretty much on your Apple Wallet or whatever it is that you're tracking it. If it's on your Chase banking app, wherever. I want you to itemize it. And I want you to, if you really want it to sting a little bit and you're like, dude, I can't get my money discipline under control, this is going to sting. Physically write it out. Highlight it, put a food column, put a going out column, put I have no idea what the hell this subscription is column, and physically write it out and write out the dollar amount that you're spending and then add it up at the end. You're going to see that how am I spending insert dollar amount? How am I spending $1,000 a month on subscriptions that I don't even remember signing up for the subscription? Maybe that was an old business idea that I had. I don't remember signing up for maybe that, subscription to track this thing that I don't even have that app anymore. Are they even in business? They probably went out of business. Yes, you want to get rid of that. And so you want to stop the bleeding as fast as possible. One of the fastest ways to give yourself a raise is by cutting out the BS expenses that you have. That's the fastest way that we can get a raise. Congratulations, you just gave yourself a raise without asking for it at your job by cutting dumb expenses. Number 3 on that right there. So remember, we want to know how much money we're making. We want to know how much money is going out. And for me, especially with where you're at right now, I would want you, if you haven't made your first 6 figures yet, I would want you to track that every single day. Don't do it once a week at the absolute latest. Don't do it monthly because at that point it's too late. If you're tracking it every day, you'll be able to track, oh, wait a minute, why did my credit card just get hit for this amount? Or wait a minute, why did my debit card just get hit for this, right? Which leads me to the third part of this financial, I would say, cleanup that we're having in this third point is watch your credit. I spent way too much money on buying things cash because I couldn't put it on credit. And don't misconstrue this advice. I don't want you to put things on credit that you can't afford. What I mean by that is I was paying once maybe I wanted to go out for a car or once I wanted to go out for maybe a house, right? I was seeing at the time that I'm paying a little bit more interest than I should, and it's because my credit has suffered, right? So if you want to buy cheaper money, and you ultimately want to leverage the bank's money, you want to pay attention to your credit. That's your utilization. That's your on-time payments. If you have any collections, get all that stuff cleaned out. I mean, head over to my YouTube channel. That's all I talk about over on the YouTube channel, right? So you want to get all of that cleaned up. But again, I don't want you to misconstrue this with putting things that you can afford on a credit card, because if I'm being real with you, even now with where I'm at, I talk a lot about business credit, talk about a lot about personal credit. I don't carry any debt. Like, I don't carry any debt at all on my credit cards. And I tell my clients all the time, if you sat in on one of my coaching calls, you would hear me tell my clients, if you guys can, just as soon as you use the funds, pay it off in full. Obviously, if your business permits, because it's a cash flow machine, or if your job permits, it's a cash flow machine. And then take advantage of the rewards that you get, whether you want to travel, whether you want to use those rewards to reinvest back into your business, buying a laptop. I've purchased a lot of equipment just off of rewards from my credit cards, which is pretty awesome. The fourth rule is you want to pick your ideal clients. Now, I'm going to state this. You can't and you shouldn't service everyone. You're not called to service everyone. There are thresholds and there are boundaries that you're eventually going to want to set in your business and with your product, and who it services and who it doesn't service, right? The reason for that is because you'll soon find out that if you wanted to speak to maybe doctors who are maybe in their 10th year of practice, and maybe you have a system that can help them get more patients, that conversation with the doctor that you're maybe looking to help scale, that's maybe in their 10th year, is going to be drastically and dramatically different from the doctor that is coming out of med school and they're starting to open up their practice. That conversation is totally different. And so you're going to get lost in the weeds, and it's also going to become more expensive to acquire that customer. Not just, and again, not to get into the weeds here, not just on the ads side of things, right, for targeting, but also on how much service you need to provide to both parties. When if you just narrow down and focus on one or two specific pain points that you can address, you can drill deep and you can go wide once you found that pain point. Number 5 is you want to get around people who are 2 to 5 times ahead of you. I'm gonna say that again. You want to get around people who are 2 to 5 times ahead of you. One of the fastest ways that you can calculate this, if you're looking to network with someone, and you guys know how I feel about networking, if you're going to do it right. Don't just go out, pass out a bunch of business cards, build real relationships. That's the whole point of networking. It's not just going out, getting drunk, and passing out business cards and hoping to get laid. Let's be real, guys. You want to build a strong relationship with someone, and you want to find someone who's 2 to 5, maybe levels, 2 to 5 times your income. So if I'm working on it from a practical standpoint, here's how that works. If I am making $50K a year and I multiply that by 5, then I'm going to be able to network at a level with someone who's maybe at $250K a year. That's typically where that threshold is. If you are making maybe $500,000 a year, you're going to be able to kind of mix and match and network with someone who's making right around $2.5 million a year. And you're probably thinking, but wait a minute. I read the book 10X, and I read that you should 10X your relationships, you should 10X your goals. Yes, but here's why you want to be careful with that advice with networking. If maybe I'm at 50K a year, there are things, and I 10X that, maybe 20X that. There's things that somebody that's making $1 million a year is doing that I can't replicate just yet, if I'm being real with you, right? There's things that if I'm at $1 million a year, there's something that somebody making 15, 20, $30 million a year is doing that I can't replicate at this point. They have more manpower. They have systems that I don't have access to just yet. They have skill sets that I haven't tapped into just yet. And they also have a bigger foundation that's maybe just one of my blocks. They have maybe 8 or 9 of them. So their understanding of what they can apply kind of just goes over my head. And so you want to implement that into your own life. And I get it. We all have big aspirations, but let's be real. There's certain things that maybe Warren Buffett is doing right now with the leverage that he has that you can't necessarily mimic or duplicate. And so take a look at your number. If it's 80K, multiply by 5. If you wanted to work it down a little bit less, double your income. So if you're at 80K, maybe hanging around with somebody that's at 160, 200, that's going to be a good spot. If you're at maybe 50K again, you 5X that, you're sitting at 250. Number 5 is, actually, I'm going to leave the 5th one for last, and I'm going to go back to one that I skipped, which was this. You want to taste different philosophies, and then you want to stick to one. I see oftentimes, and it happens a lot, especially when we're starting out, is we see someone and they're speaking with certain cadence, or they're speaking and we're pumped up, we're motivated. Maybe we saw a YouTube video of theirs and we say, man, I want to mimic exactly how they did it. And then we see someone else and wait a minute, this person said it slightly better. And then we see someone else, but wait a minute, this person said it slightly better and they're driving a better car. I like their car more. Doesn't matter who you're listening to in terms of where they are at in their maybe area of success, in their area of expertise. I want you to taste a couple of different philosophies in business and how these people made their money. And then I want you to stick to one. The longer you can stick to one, the more you're able to iterate one versus jumping to 30. Here's why. If you jump 30, 40, 50 different philosophies, you never really have a strong foundation of what's going to work for you. And I know you're probably thinking, but wait a minute, I want to be a mix of everyone. You're naturally going to be yourself no matter what. Like that, you don't have to taste a bunch of different stuff to know what you like or don't like. You're going to have your natural tendencies. So once you've tasted a couple things, it doesn't have to be a lot, right? Maybe this is the industry. Okay, I tasted real estate. I tasted life insurance. I tasted selling medical supplies. Okay, cool. Now that I've tasted all of them, I kind of like medical supplies the most out of all of them. I'll wait at the pros and cons. Cool. Now go in for the next 5 to 10 years in that industry and go make a ton of money. I said it. Go make a ton of money, but it's going to take 5 to 10 years. And if you think that's a long time, congratulations. This is the price that you have to pay. Good stuff takes a lot of time to build. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I mean, if the Roman emperors were still around right now, I'd sit down with them and I'd say, hey, how long did it take you to build this place out? They're not going to say, hey, yeah, we built this thing out. Yeah, you see the Colosseum? Yeah, we built that out in 24 hours. You know the plumbing system that we have? Yeah, we built that out in like 24 hours. They're going to tell you, dude, this took decades. This took a couple of generations for us to build it out and really get it the way that we want to. And so the longer time horizon you can place on your goals, the better you're able to build, because now you have less pressure and less constraint of, oh, I just have to make rent next month, because now you're thinking of a long-term game and you know that it's going to be worth it. And then the 7th rule to making your first 6 figures is 4 core disciplines that I want you to master. Now, you don't have to master all of them at once, but at one point or another, these 4 core disciplines you're going to want to master, or at least have a general understanding that you can build off of, because this is going to help you scale into the next realm of income. First one is going to be sales. Second one is going to be accounting. The 3rd core discipline is going to be marketing. And the 4th core discipline is going to be leadership. Again, sales, accounting, marketing, and leadership are the 4 core disciplines that you're going to want to tap into if you're looking to build a substantial business or build a substantial income. If, again, you're maybe looking to build that within an organization, if you have those 4 skills, or if you've at least have a strong understanding of them, those cross-pollinate in any industry. And so you can carry sales skills from one industry to another. You can carry leadership from one entity or from one business to another. You can carry maybe accounting because you have a general understanding of how numbers work and how math works, and profit and loss columns, and how much money's coming in, how much money's going out. That's why I mentioned earlier, I think it was point 3 or point 4, where you want to start watching your money. That goes into the accounting side, right? What's my cash flow? How much money do I have left over? What am I spending my money on? And then with the marketing, it doesn't matter how good your product is, even though it kind of does, but it doesn't matter how good your product is if no one knows who you are. I promise you, I've had better burgers down the road than what I do at McDonald's. But if there's something that McDonald's understands well, is they understand marketing, and they keep that in front of your face, and they've systematized their process. So even though it's not the best burger, every time you go there, for the most part, you get the same experience. You're going to get the number 3. It's going to taste like the number 3 that you had last week. You're going to get the same fries, and you know that when you ask for the McFlurry machine is going to be done with. So you know you're going to get the same experience no matter what. But at least you know what you're paying for. And I wanted to give you a bonus, and that's this. And that's the 5th core discipline, which I left out, but it goes with the other 4, and that's product. Remember when I mentioned product isn't as important as marketing? To an extent, it's not, because if people don't know you, they can't flow you, right? But with the product is, you are either the product or you're selling a product, but a physical product. But either way, you want to find a way to get that product in front of people, whether it's yourself or the physical product that you have, and then you want to deliver such an experience to people, which is part of the fulfillment of that product, that people are going to rave about it, meaning you, if you are maybe a videographer, if you're a real estate agent, man, this guy went above and beyond. This lady, like, she really took care of us. She really knows. Now you see how these skills are stacking on each other. She really knows what she's talking about. He really understands our vision behind this project. You've productized yourself, which is how you stand out from a commoditized market. Or if you're selling the product, you want to make the product stand out more than all of your competitors. And then when you start driving marketing behind it, it's like adding fuel to a fire. So these are essentially, how many were there? There were 7 rules for making money that I think, I mean, I put 6 figures, but if I'm honest with you guys, this right here will catapult you right into that 7-figure mark, because let's be real, you're never going to stop being a leader. You're never going to stop being good at selling. You're never going to stop marketing, and you're never going to stop making your product better. On top of everything else that I just mentioned, watching your cash flow, making sure that you're constantly learning and watching your philosophies of what's coming in and what's coming out. So I actually enjoyed this episode quite a bit today. So if you did as well, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Remember, we don't have anything to sell you on here other than I'm going to sell you on giving me a like down below and leaving us a 5-star review if you enjoyed this content today, because it does help this content reach a larger audience. But once again, this is Irv signing out. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Be great.